Welcome to Justice Rounds with Dr. Jimmell, where we will dispel myths, defend families, and demand justice. I'm ready if you are. Let's get started.
Happy New Year, everybody! Well, we're going to start out by saying I trust that you are ready for 2026 because if you're not ready for it, it's here. So, welcome to my first episode of 2026 with Justice Rounds with Dr. Jimmell. I am so happy to welcome you to my first episode of the year. So I just want to say that I hope you had a wonderful holiday season with your family and your friends, and I hope that you are ready to conquer and do everything that you set out to do in 2026. So I'm going to take that off so you can see my face. And again, I'm going to welcome you to Justice Rounds. I do want to say something really quick. You know, everybody has like a thing of what their followers are called. And if you know me, I am really, I'm a Marvel girl, so this is not really going to make sense, but it will. I'm going to we're going to be the Justice League, of course. That's, very obvious of that's what we're going to be. So if you're a part of my subscriber community, I'm referring to you as the Justice League. So that is just something I wanted to start out with for 2026, letting you know how you fit into my community as the Justice League because we can all advocate for justice together. So I just wanted to talk about that, share that with you, and to let you know that if you think anybody should know about this podcast, please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well as anywhere else where you get your podcast. And so this episode is entitled Hope for the New Year, Rising Above Uncertainty. So here we go. So no matter where you are or what's on your mind right now, I'm so glad that you've joined me for this episode as we step into this fresh chapter of a new year together. It's natural to feel both excitement of what's to come and uncertainty about what's to come. So, anyway, today we're going to talk honestly about the challenges we're facing, but more importantly, we're going to shine a light on the hope and the power that resides within each and every one of us for positive change for the new year. So that is what this episode is about. But I am going to talk about some current challenges that we may be facing. I'm a pediatrician, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the measles, flu, and also ACA subsidy changes. So let's start out with these recent headlines. So since the last time we had a podcast episode, we have had some bad news as far as this is the first time since 1992 that measles cases in the United States has surpassed 2,000 cases. Y'all, I was a senior in high school in 1992. And although I do, have aged gracefully, I am about to be 52 years old. So that number can feel just very overwhelming, especially when we recognize that measles is a vaccine preventable disease. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time talking about vaccines. I did a whole podcast episode number 2, about that, about misinformation and disinformation and why we choosing to not vaccinate right now. But so refer to that episode if you want to learn more about that. But anyway, as long as measles cases are skyrocketing, and so is the flu. This new flu strain that's out, baby, let me tell you, is something you do not want to have. The cases are rising, hospitalizations are rising, and even deaths are rising. I was unfortunate enough to be flu positive on Christmas Eve. And baby, let me tell you, it was rough. Okay, I don't need to have that kind of virus in my body because I was shaking, chills and fever and coughing and headache. I mean, the headache was so bad. I was riding in the car to go pick up some stuff for Christmas dinner, and the sun was shining. And when I tell you this whole, like, my eye, I mean, I thought that, I don't know, that headache was terrible. this whole side of my face was like, oh my gosh, we're not gonna make it, because that headache was something serious coming. It was right in that right eye, and so I don't wish that on anybody. I'm a pretty healthy person, so um, to my recollection, I've never had anything like that. So I did test to make sure that I didn't infect people who were coming to my home for the holidays. But my little one didn't get out so lucky, and I did infect him before I knew that I had influenza, and he got it too. And when I tell you that teenager laid around all Christmas Day, we could barely get him up to eat or, um, open his gifts, which he did do that. But after that, that baby laid around all day long. And when a teenage boy is too sick to play video games, then you know they're really sick. And that is the flu that was in our household. I mean, it was something serious. So, but luckily we got Tamiflu on board right when we were diagnosed, which I think helped us recuperate much quicker than we would have had we not had it. And we were able to enjoy ringing in the new year together. So I don't wish that on y'all. So, be careful out there in these streets. All right, so transitioning to another big headline was the expiration of the ACA subsidies, leaving questions about coverage and care for millions of Americans. People don't know if they're going to be able to afford their health care without the subsidies helping them with their health care coverage. So these changes can shake our sense of security. And it's okay to acknowledge that there are a lot of things going on in the world that we're worrying about, and that are causing us some anxiety. But what we can do is shift our focus and find hope through personal change. And that's what this podcast episode is about today. So, you know what? When things feel like they're larger than life, we can pivot, okay? When we have large scale events, like public health crises or policy changes that affect all of us, then we don't have to feel overwhelmed, because a lot of these things are out of our control. So, what we can do is focus on the things that we can influence. There's hope in that. So, we could start with ourselves and what can I do to make a change. So your sphere of influence and my sphere of influence, it refers to the areas, the people, the situations where our actions, our decisions, and our attitudes and mindsets can directly or indirectly create change. So as a new year rolls in, that's when most of us take some time to kind of self-reflect and reset. We get a whole new 365 days. So we can do small everyday actions like building healthy habits or supporting other people that can add up to meaningful change, not in just our own lives, but in the lives of our families and our communities as well. So, I'm going to spend a little time talking about the science of behavioral change. If you've listened to any of these podcasts, it has a certain structure. So, I usually level set with some definitions. And so, today we're just really going to talk about a theory called behavioral change theory. And I'm just going to tap into my little psychology degree. Well, I won't say little psychology degree. I don't mean it that way, but I did have a degree in psychology in undergrad. So behavior change theory looks at how people form new habits and what it takes to shift from old patterns. It's about recognizing your triggers, your routines, and the rewards that shape your daily actions. So why is this important? Because when we understand why we are doing what we're doing, then we can create new habits that serve us better. So, how do we actually make these positive changes stick? Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about science. It tells us that lasting change isn't about willpower alone. So, anytime people say, oh, you just have to, power your way through it, that's not absolutely correct. It's about setting clear, specific goals, building routines, and creating supportive, nurturing environments to help you succeed in whatever goal you're trying to accomplish. So these strategies help expand our sphere of influence by making positive behavior sustainable. So, for example, let's say we want to be more healthy or we want to move more in the new year. So, you could start out by saying, okay, I'm going to do this tiny habit of I'm going to put my sneakers on right after breakfast. So, if I got my sneakers on, that may give me motivation to move more. That's just a tiny habit, and that can make a new behavior that you're trying to accomplish feel less overwhelming. Why is this important? Because habits are the small steps that build our lives. A healthier routine, a positive mindset, these things just don't happen by accident. They are the result of intentional changes repeated over time until they become like second nature. So that's what behavioral change is. And what you also need to do to be successful is to track the progress. You need to celebrate your small wins. And you need to have a support system that can boost your chances of success. If you're around somebody negative, it's like, oh, you're not going to succeed at that. That may affect you, and it may get into your mindset and interfere with your success. So build in us a good support system. All right, so let's talk about some statistics of New Year's resolutions because we're in a new year. So every year, millions set New Year's resolutions. Millions. Did you know that 38% of adults make resolutions, and the top goals are, I'm sure you can guess, losing weight, getting healthy, or getting on top of my finances? And how many times have we set those resolutions, multiple years of our lives? I know I have. Here's the catch. Less than 10% stick with those resolutions for more than a few months. So why do so many, including myself, fall short on these resolutions that we make? It's not because people aren't trying. It's often because they're not applying strategies that actually work. So when it comes to health, weight loss tops the list, as I said. People will say, okay, this is going to be my year. And they get their gym membership, and gym memberships spike in January. But by spring, nobody's going to the gym anymore. And you've wasted that money by getting a monthly membership. These numbers show us that wanting change is common. Lots of people want to change. But making it last is another story. So let's talk about some myths. So the favorite part of this for me is dispelling myths. And so we're going to dispel some myths about behavior change. All right, myth number 1. Change takes 21 days. I know some people have heard this. You can change a habit in 21 days. Okay. In reality, forming a new habit can take much longer than 21 days or sometimes less. You've heard of people, stop smoking cold turkey or whatever else, people have done, and that doesn't take 21 days. So basically, the change depends on what? The person and the habit. So, myth number 2, you have to be motivated all the time to change. No, everybody knows motivation comes and goes, but habits built into your routine keep you moving forward, even on those tough days. So when I was talking about putting your shoes on, if you put those shoes on right after breakfast, then I was like, okay, this is a reminder that I've built in to help me sustain my goal. Myth number 3, you fail at changing because you lack discipline or because you're lazy. In reality, change is hard because our beautiful brains, are wired for routine. So breaking those routines and breaking those take more than good intentions. All right, myth number 4, change is only about willpower. If you can power through it, you can do it. And the truth is, willpower helps. I mean, it really does, but it's not everything. And so some of the things that also can set you up for success are things that I've already mentioned. So your support system, your environment, also understanding your triggers and how those affect you matter just as much as your willpower. So please remember that you don't have to be perfect, and setbacks are normal. Setbacks are a part of life. So the journey matters more than instant results. And you know that if you've gone on a weight loss journey, that's a marathon, not a sprint. You are not defined by your struggles. Everyone faces challenges, but everyone also has the power to change. All right, so we've talked about these myths. Let's talk about some practical steps and some resources to ensure your success. So, number one, start out by setting specific achievable goals, and small goals is usually what I tell people. So, focus on actions you can control, such as improving your health. But that's pretty vague, so make it specific. Learning a new skill or helping someone else. Number two, build support networks. I cannot say this enough that you have to surround yourself with people who want you to succeed in order for you to succeed. So connect with your friends, family. That can even be community groups, or it can be an online community group that you can share resources with, that they can encourage you, and they can help you to be your accountability partner. Number three, you can use apps that help you track your progress. A couple of these apps are Habitica, Streaks, or the Habit Tracker. You can download those from whatever phone store you have to help you with your goal setting. Number four, you can read the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, or tune into podcasts like The Happiness Lab for practical tips. Number five, you can model positive behaviors. Your actions can inspire others to make changes in their own lives. And then lastly, you can advocate for change. You can use your voice to support causes or policies that matter to you, whether through volunteering, voting, or just raising awareness about what's going on in your community. All right, so let's move on to the second part of what I do in the podcast, and that's defend families. Today we're going to call it engaging families, though, building new habits together. So imagine what happens when families team up together. You could start by setting a shared goal, like we're going to cook healthier this year, or we're going to take walks together after dinner this year, or we're going to swap out our sugary drinks like sodas and Kool-Aid or Gatorade for water. And then once you do that, set a family goal, you hold each other accountable. But you do it in kind ways and encouraging ways. And then the most important thing is to listen to each other. You celebrate each other's wins. And remember that progress is better than perfection. When kids see adults making positive changes, or when any other family member sees the other family members making positive changes, they learn to do the same thing. You can actually rub off on each other. So that's an important thing. Family empowerment is about supporting each other, not judging each other. Together, you're stronger. And finally, demanding justice for ourselves. Self-worth, empowerment, and justice. So when I say demand justice in the title of this podcast, justice isn't always about the law. It can be about fairness in your own life. You deserve health. You deserve happiness. You deserve respect. So demanding justice means standing up for yourself, giving yourself self-care when you need it. It also means standing up for your family. It means believing that you're worthy of change. It means believing that you're worthy of support. And it means believing that you are worthy of success. Self-worth is the foundation for every new habit. When you see yourself as valuable, you fight for your well-being. So I'm going to close by encouraging you and a call to action for the new year. So as you step into 2026, remember, change is possible. You are not alone. Every effort counts, And every setback is a chance to learn, not a reason to quit. Be kind to yourself. Give grace to yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself, as we often are. Celebrate the small wins. Justice for your family starts with loving yourself first. And it starts with you loving yourself enough to keep trying. Persistence and self-compassion are your greatest tools. Thank you for joining me for this first podcast episode of Justice Rounds with Dr. Jimmell. I'm so delighted that you are here. I hope you tune in for further episodes this year. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel or any other platform where you get your podcasts. I am now officially on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and iHeartRadio. So you can find me almost everywhere. Until next time, I am Dr. Jimmell, encouraging you to dispel myths, engage with your family, and demand the justice you deserve. I am wishing you a healthy, empowered, and justice-filled 2026.